kind of just goes to prove that after presenting my mother with a proposal which went along the lines in terms of philosophy and thinking, personally, I know, let it be known that I know the full experience of it all. But let me just make a point that I just presented a theory to my mother which went along the lines, what if science proved at a certain point in time that there is no God at all and that there is no afterlife for us? What would humankind be left with if that was the case? What would we do? Would it be a case that nobody cares anymore? Or would we be a little bit more alert to one another, more conscientious about one another, wanting the best for one another in this life rather than the worst? To be going down a route whereby we once had been so tripped out by constant prayer, and in our knowledge that there was constant prayer, and in our knowledge that there were probably over time about, in the 17th century for example, there may well have been about 2.5 billion people, 3.5 to 5 billion people praying at the one time. You know? And what did that prove? Is that saying that it didn't stop the Napoleonic Wars? It didn't stop any of the movement of governments into governments and governments out of governments and new waves of moving countries, swarming into countries, and the whole process of slavery during that period. And the abolition of slavery. You know, so it's just it becomes a frightening place if there is no God, isn't it? Place of doom and horribleness, just a lack of soulfulness, as if to say there is no soul anymore, as if to say there is no soul anymore. All I can say is that I took the magic mushrooms. And in accordance with trips, to be wading in pools of purple marshy streams and the rain falling down with huge pellets of purple rainwater splashing before me. And I'm going splash, splash, splash. There's a God there, isn't there? There's a God there, isn't there? Splash. And to be brought home after going like that, like that, through a friend's body. And watching on of that eye that I talked about, being inside the eye, but outside the eye at the same time. The eye of God looking in at a long, long journey of going, whoa. Anyway, sorry, I just don't want to come across like that pansy. I did become angry. I didn't know. I became that same person who didn't look at the dangers of life and just went, whoa. The question seems to be the case. Was it always my fault anyway? Was it always my fault, or was there something else more sinister at work? That may have been an earth being problem rather than an esoteric, high altered state problem. Because otherwise I would be a priest today. I would be a priest today. But what kind of a priest would I be? What kind of priest would I be? Poetic priest, I suppose. I think my first calling was always poetry. Became priesthood then when I was a young man, young boy. Quickly established by a complete and utter fondness for vagina and breasts. Which put the priest stuff back out of the equation. No way this man would be able to be capable of chastity and proven it differently in this day and age. But so much has happened since. And I do not know why my voice has changed so much. Anyway. The idea is that Spinoza cannot be beaten and Jesus cannot be beaten. Why do you try to put yourself through? Why do you even attempt to try and get into the mind of God? Why do you even attempt to get into the mind of God? I was only putting a suggestion to my mother. It's obvious that she's just not well enough to be able to comprehend all these factors of life. She's not. She thought she was the end all and be all of every last detail of everything that had been thought of. She thought she was fucking unbelievable. And she is. But in terms of hair, she thought she was. She couldn't be. She thought she couldn't be mastered. Sometimes it's not enough to do a course in poetry, creative writing, astrophysics, philosophy, medicine. It must be continued on and on and on and on, and always a reversing back to going back to the basics, because the basics can get lost over time by the same people. I used to stop myself and wonder what the theory of relativity is. What the full theory would be. Energy is equal to mass and light squared. E equals mc squared. I'm just. Yeah, I'm just different thoughts going through my mind as I think of all that, and I keep that to myself. And why would we even try to get into the mind of God when we are human? It's because we are trying to create God eventually. This is the point that I was trying to make earlier on. And if we are trying to make God, it's probably It might be the pathway of blending all of us humans, Borg people in the future, and future synthetic make computer people, beings, to enter into the mind of God, create the mind of God by entering into the mind of God. As a downloadable structure of everything that has been measured by the possibilities of space. To revert back into a huge possibility that not alone will it be possible to create God from all the living creatures, beings, breathable beings, and sometimes non-breathable beings. Even through some forms of pre-soul capture of heavenly realms of consciousness, capturing through time travel, mixes of capturing the past as far back as 8 billion years ago, when the other galaxies disappeared. Capturing all that timeline through data processes and laser beam functions. This is the vision that I have. And by capturing everything together, capturing it all, marrying it all into one whole realm, of being able to say, yes, we are creating definitely one universal God. And on top of that, we can create other gods. And from that process of mirror imaging, we can use a potential democratic one consciousness being linking up the threads of multiverse, the threads themselves being afterlife happenings of us, which means that we can fall into and out of. It kind of goes like that. Two multiverses, and how it seems to move like that, and 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 like that. And that's how we are developing humankind. And will have developed humankind through the awareness of our own selves, understanding that we were slow, but we have all picked up. And have all become the Medici artists. And I'm looking forward to writing more and more and more. And painting more and more and more. And let's go bizarrely into the present moment. Just that's so far away. In the present moment, is a moment of looking at myself as a young Homer, before his marriage to Marge. And I feel so autistic. I feel so autistic. I love everybody. But I know that I know for a fact that there was something happening the last few days. Look, I've been trying to help out with everybody. I've been trying to help out with everybody. I don't necessarily believe in any shape or form, no matter what way one looks at it. That a nuclear power plant on the moon is the future. I think it's a fucking disgust. That's